yesterday in the night. So later I was called, it was late. So they coming this morning. So I want to apologize. It's a history. You know, police service. We are with police. They are there with us. So we don't have any option. Because we can't live without police. So it's a history. I talked to the IGP and the commander is here to see what is going on. Yeah. You know, we don't use wrong to correct wrong. So we are here to see what is going on. It's a process. Because I was visiting them at their office, we exchanged numbers, and we saw letters on social media how the 4 people were interdicted. And I've given details about some of the CRD's actions to the commander himself, and I'll go and give them much as well. That's what I have to say. You have to accept, but you'll see what is missing and what is going on when the investigation are taken, and what all those things can be found. You don't have problem. And as well, they have to work on the gates and other tests. So we are here to see up to now. Actually, you can also see it in our face. Yeah, it's not easy, but we are seeing it to be normally now.
You're welcome. This is The Law. It's your legal clinic, and where we empower you with some amount of law and help you to understand. Now, this is not the first time you are seeing in Ghana that law enforcement agencies are practically putting the law aside and turning themselves into the law by visiting unlawful punishment on suspects. So today, we get back to this issue and to ask, can the police punish suspects? Not long ago, during the lockdown, there were police in the Ashanti region and elsewhere, including local authority guards who were administering instant punishment to persons said to be offending the COVID-19 rules. Here in the Greater Accra region, the regional minister has led a situation in the Medina Zongo area where, for pedestrians who have refused to use the pedestrian crossing or have refused to use the approved areas to cross, were picked up by police and local guards. Some of them, you saw them holding whips and canes. They made some of the people squat in the sun, in the open, and they made some of them sweep. Clearly unlawful, but we have the same people, some of you, applauding him for administering what you call discipline. So this afternoon, we are privileged to have Justine Poivara Teriwajah, who is a private legal practitioner and a law lecturer. He has been a police officer, so he's better placed to help us understand the law. We're talking about the police today, but of course we know that often it is the military or soldiers that we have seen administering this kind of unlawful punishment. Thank you so very much, Justine, for making time to join us on The Law.
Thank you, Jonathan, for the opportunity.
Right. Now, we will read an updated statement from the police, making further apologies and giving assurances, among other things. We will speak to one of the victims. But before we speak to the victim, Salifu Seidu, who is a proprietor, he's on phone with us now. I would like you to briefly tell us what you have to say, seeing the videos that we have played, and what the police officers were doing to the suspects?
Okay. To begin with, the videos do not make easy viewing. Looking at them, honestly, they look disturbing because it looks like one of the policemen was holding a whip. And from the look of things, it looks like the person lying down had already been subdued. And I heard some whipping, but I really didn't see. The only part I saw or I see is the person holding the whip. But somewhere along the line, it's like the camera didn't capture that aspect. Who delivered the whip or who hit who really is not too clear from the video I watched. So on the basis of that, it's a bit difficult for me to make a clear determination as to whether the person was whipped whilst on the ground. But it's clear that the person had been subdued already, and it looks like his hands were even tied or something of that nature.
He was in handcuffs.
Okay, all right. I mean, the picture is not too clear to me, but that's thanks for making it clearer. Now, so then, the law is this, that the police, once they tell you you are under arrest, they must give you the reason for the arrest, and it must be a lawful reason that you committed this or that crime, for which reason, or you are suspected of having committed this or that crime. For that reason, you are under arrest. From that moment, you have to submit. That's what the law requires. Once he identifies himself as a police officer and tells you are under arrest, even if you believe in your heart of hearts that you are completely innocent, you still must submit.
That's right.
Once you fail to submit and tell the police, I will not comply, then the law allows the police to use force to subdue you. In this particular video, that may not be the case because the person was already subdued, and as you say, he had been handcuffed already. So then, from the professional policing point of view, once you've been able to put the person under arrest, either he submits, you haven't even handcuffed him, or you are able to handcuff him, that is even clear that you subdued him. Then, from that point, the police don't have any right under the law to use force any longer.
Okay.
They just go along with you and the process starts.
Right. I'd like to speak to one of the victims and then return to you. We have all the time with you and our viewers too. You will join us in due course as we always do. But whilst you get ready to return to help us do this discussion, I would like to read some portions of the Constitution so you may avert your mind to. I know that you may already be getting ready to share those portions with us. Article 15(1) of the Constitution says that the dignity of all persons shall be inviolable. We shall find out from you what that means. And it says, no person shall, whether or not he is arrested, restricted, or detained, be subjected to torture or other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Degrading treatment or punishment. So whether you are arrested, restricted, or detained, the Constitution, the supreme law of the country says you shall not be subjected to torture or any other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Any other condition that detracts or is likely to detract from his dignity and worth as a human being. And then in Article 19, I've just read you Article 15. In Article 19, it says that a person charged with a criminal offense shall be given a fair hearing within a reasonable time by a court. A person charged with a criminal offense shall be presumed to be innocent until he is proved or has pleaded guilty. And then you have just told us the other things that the police is supposed to do. They are supposed to inform you immediately in a language that you understand in detail of the nature of the offense charge. Then they will give you adequate time and facilities for you to prepare your defense. Now, you will also be permitted to defend yourself before the court in person or by a lawyer. Now, I pause there and then go to Salifu Seidu. Salifu, thank you very much for joining us on the law this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Good afternoon. Now, how are you doing?
Mr. Thompson, I'm doing well by the grace of Almighty Allah.
Okay. The police have issued a further statement after the first statement they issued to apologize to those of you affected. And they say that the IGP himself has even spoken to you guys on phone and has reassured you that the matter would be dealt with. Of course, the officers involved, 4 of them, have also been interdicted, as we understand. They say that they have facilitated medical treatment for those of you who have been affected, and they have paid the full cost of the treatment, in addition to psychological support that they are providing by a team of clinical psychologists sent from Accra at the behest of the police administration. So tell us what has happened since you encountered this situation.
Actually, we received action on the next day when the incident happened. It was holiday, but I was at the office when the CID called me. The regional commander wanted to come and visit the place. So I hold somewhere 9:30 to 10 o'clock. When I had a call, he was called by IGP that it's not good. The grounds is not safe, so it's not good he move in the night as at that time. So the following morning, around 8:30 to 9 o'clock, I had a call again when they asked to get close to the roadside and pick them to the scene. So I moved my car to the roadside and I saw a convoy, about 2 to 3 pickups and Nizam Patrol or Lankusa. When we get to the house, actually, the high officers came down with which I was introduced by one of the senior officers to the commander, the assistant commander, and the crime officer, regional crime officer. So actually, they brought the apology because commander rendered apology, which we have to accept because we can't live without police. We need police in our life. Because when the incident happened, when I get home, I write to the police station before I was detained. So, and this is accident. Though when we have police, we can't have all of them perfect. So we'll have the bad people among them. But that is the word I give back to the commander. Yes, because as a senior, it's good they get to identify the bad ones among them, interdict them or dismiss some of them, those who have more crimes, so that we will live in decent democracy. Because this case, it was very threatening. Myself, I was threatened very well because I went there to give a complaint what was going on. I was detained from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening.
Okay, so explain that. What was your first encounter with the police? And why did you have that encounter with the police? What have you done wrong?
Yeah, I came in my room and my son's room was broken. And things scattered inside the rooms. We can't find our motorbikes and some of our items in the room. So I said they should wait. I didn't even go there close. I went back to the police station. When I went to Lemashego station, they directed me to go to the headquarters. I went to the headquarters. They said I should go to the charge office. I went to the charge office. When I started the whole story, they hold me for more than 20 to 30 minutes. So the in charge told me to go back. I said, I'm coming to go back there with the officer to witness what was going on or what happened. He said I should go back, go inside the room and check what was missing. I said, hey, why do you want me to commit myself? It's not good I go inside the room. It's good you go there with the CID or one officer. So he said I should go back. I was advised by a brother that we should go. When we went into my room. I saw my wardrobe shake a lot of things. I came out and I went inside with my son to his room. We saw that the motorbike was not there. He can't find the laptop. A lot of things. We see that it's scattered and the louvers was breaking. So I went back to the station. When I went back, he was writing one-man statement. I hold on for 20, 15 minutes. So he called me back to come. When I came, I gave him all the story. After the story, he assigned me to one CID. It took me more than 45 minutes. With my statement, it was written by a first CID, transferred to another CID to write, not knowing they were communicating with the people on the spot. So the time I realized, I saw a policeman inside with a gun inside the CID's room. He was telling the other colleagues that they went out with VRA to do operation. When they went, they heard some of them came to make a complaint against them. They will deal with them. When they get them, they should bring them to the headquarters. The CID who was writing my statement pointed that one of them is here. He quickly rushed and hold me, pulled me. I said, what are you doing? He said, what? Can I ask him that question? He will deal with me today. He pushed me to the gate. So assemblyman right there, he nearly knocked the assemblyman. When they called the man honorable, he stood there and said, honorable, take your time. So the VRA man was on a Land Cruiser in front of the CID office. He pushed me to the car and was telling the man that I'm one of those who did the illegal. And I said, do you find me doing any illegal in my house? Do you know me very well? He pushed me. One police, elderly man with the red on their arm. I don't know their post. He called the officer and the CID and tell the CID that he should rather advise the CID to take his time and the officer who was in the uniform to take his time so that the CID will guide me to the headquarters. So he said they should go away with that. So
what you are saying is that you were out of town and returned home to see your room and your child's room, your son's room ransacked, right?
Yeah.
And you later identified those who did that to be VRA officers together with police. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
And that's, according to the story, as we have become aware, these were officers who were going around in the northern region, visiting the particular area, and they were embarking on an inspection of people who are connecting to power illegally.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I see. And so it is when you saw that you decided to now make a complaint to the police.
Police, yes, sir.
Then you were asked to return to the place, take note of what we may be missing, and report back.
Yes, sir.
You got back and saw the officers around the place?
Yes.
Okay. And so the video we have seen with somebody in handcuff who is on the ground and being whipped. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, the thing is about some selected houses and areas. It was not done with, in one area.
Okay.
It was about 4 areas. The other videos, this one in particular, actually it was like Zijung Nakwanzo area. And the 2 rooms which was breaking is my house.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other one was, the one with the food was at Banvum. And the last one was Lemashegu North. And I'm at Lemashegu South.
Okay.
Yeah.
We understand from the police's latest statement that some youth have decided, and that was yesterday, they embarked on an unlawful demonstration and they vandalized the police divisional headquarters building and the VRA office in protest against the incident that happened to you guys. What exactly went on? Do you know about this?
That one, I don't know about it because yesterday I was at a mechanics to work on my car. When I heard those stories that they said they want to do press conference, I called the presiding officer and I tell him that we don't have that hands and they are not doing it because of us. We don't want those things. Okay. We cannot use that one to solve our problem because we've had a call from the IGP and I received psychologists in my house and I had a call several times with the police. So I don't have any hands with searching because when you are calling groups to come out and you march, you can't control them. So that one we don't have that hand.
All right.
And what they are doing, we can't do away with police. We can't do away with VRA.
Okay.
We want the problem to solve. So if they are doing that thing, they are doing their criminal act. We don't have any hands there. Okay. That's what I told the presiding officer.
That's what a good citizen you should do. So you were not beaten by the police?
Yeah, my son, one of my sons in the house, and the women were threatened.
They were threatened, but not beaten.
But one boy was beaten. One boy in my house was beaten. They beat him, but he's a footballer. Okay. Actually, really, he didn't want, but he left the camp to play football.
All right. Have you been charged by the police for connecting power illegally?
Actually, they can't prove to me I connected power illegally because they didn't give me my meter, they didn't give me anything. And I don't know about any illegal in my house.
So you have not been charged by the police?
I've not been charged by the police. The police didn't take action about what they came and did to me. Because it's good they arrested those who sent the policemen to the house. Because it's good if VRA come to ask police to assist them to come and arrest me or my son. It's good they give them a court notice or they give them a letter that they've given me a bill and I did not pay. So they disconnected me on this and I did illegal. And they called me and I didn't come.
I see.
If I gave a complaint that this is what is happening and they get to realize that there was a problem when a VRA officer come and demand police to go there. Because we've never had any problem with VRA man in our house.
Okay. So your house is connected to the electricity grid, right?
For now, from Monday up to now, we don't have light.
But you have had light before now?
We were having light in the house.
Okay, and you have meters to your house?
I was having meter. My meter was named by I requested the meter long time.
Okay. So what is your expectation now? After the IGP has spoken to you and I reassured you and that these people will be punished for doing the wrong thing, and psychologists have been made available to those of you who have been affected, medical bills are being paid. What is your expectation going forward?
Actually, I can't interpret the law well. I'm here to see what the police will call me to advise and advise the VRA as well, because we can't live without light and we can't live with police, without police too. Okay. And I will not do something to undermine the integrity of the police.
That's fine. So far, you don't have a lawyer assisting you? Actually,
my mates, I have lawyers who are in Accra. They were my mates. We completed school 1993. And since this thing happened, I've been getting advices from some of the senior lawyers in Accra, and they were my mates.
Okay. So what do you do? What do you do?
Myself, I'm a proprietor.
Of?
I have a school, Best International School.
You're running a school. Is it a crèche?
A crèche to primary.
To primary school.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so very much for your time, Salifu Seidu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sampson.
All right. And do advise the others who intend to continue to do, what do you call it, use violent demonstration, that it is not the best thing to do, right? they can demonstrate peacefully. And before they demonstrate, they need to get a notice to the police at least 5 days before the demonstration.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Right. So we still have Justine with us. Now, Justine, interesting. On our Facebook page, we have a number of people who are making comment. They say you are their lecturer and they are excited. They are listening to hear what your education will be. Now, having heard Seydou Salifu, what would you say? It's about allegations of connecting electricity illegally, and they have embarked on an inspection of the situation within a number of areas in the region. And this is what has led to people being handcuffed and whipped, and as we see some of them on the floor in the manner that you saw.
Yes, the story narrated by him, it kind of borders on arrest, warrant, search, and especially entering to somebody's house from the way he talked about.
That's right.
That his son, from the way he described it, that his son's room was ransacked and something of that nature.
Right.
And honestly, the police do not have the power to enter your house and search unless they are doing so based on a warrant.
Unless they are doing the search based on a warrant?
Exactly. So then the issue...
I wanted to ask this question immediately. Section 94 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act procedure says a police officer not below the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police, or who being below the rank is authorized in writing to do so by a police officer not below the rank, may enter a house, shop, warehouse, yard, ship, boat, vessel, beach, or any other premises which the police officer has reasonable cause to believe contains property which has been stolen or dishonestly received. The police officer may search for, seize, and secure the property which the police officer has reasonable cause to believe has been stolen or dishonestly received, as if the police officer had a search warrant and the property seized corresponded to the property described in the search warrant. Authorizations, searches, and seizures given or made under this section shall not be confined to a particular property, but may be general. What do you say about that?
Yeah, that's an exception to the rule.
Okay.
If you see the officers who were there, I didn't see any officer of the rank of superintendent among them. So that's an exception, generally. And the superintendent is the police service is like a pyramid. We have the officer corps who are the superintendents, that is assistant superintendent, deputy superintendent, all the way to commissioner of police. And these are usually the commanders, district commander, divisional, regional commander upwards. So then, generally, the police must search you with a warrant. search your house with a warrant. But under exceptional circumstances, they can do so under authority given by the superintendent.
And in that circumstance, the issue must be about stolen item that they are looking for.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the people in the house have a right to demand to see any such documentation warranting the search of the house.
Okay.
So once the police come in and they say, you want to search, you ask them, under what authority are you coming to search? Show me your warrant. He must produce the warrant, or he produces authority given by the superintendent for that purpose. And that authority by the superintendent is usually the exception to the rule.
Okay.
So then that's exactly what I was driving at.
All right.
That the search of the house, the issue arises as to whether it was done in accordance with law. So when this man went to report that his house had been ransacked under the circumstances, the police were required to look into it, to find out whether the right thing had been done by their own police. That's what professionalism required of them. apart from the issue
he sought, Salif Hussein sought to insist that an officer should accompany him to his home to see the sort of distraction or misarrangements at the place. Must that always be the case?
Yes and no. Salif could have gone in, it is his house. He can go in and check what was there. But I guess he was afraid that if he went in, they would say he went and then took some things out and is coming to make a complaint. But the house is his. So the bottom line is, was there a warrant for that search? If there was a warrant for the search and they went in, then there will be that legality about it. But if there was no authority for the search, legal authority, let me put it that way, then the search itself was being in violation of his rights to privacy.
Okay. Now, I had referred to Article 15.1 and 2, and I had gone also to Article 19.2 thereabouts. What would you have to say generally by way of educating the people, our audiences, when the Constitution says the dignity of all persons shall be inviolable, and whether you have been arrested, restricted, or detained, you must not be put to torture or cruel or inhuman or degrading treatment, or you must not be punished. That's the word he used, punishment. And or you should not be subject to any other condition that detracts or is likely to detract from your dignity and worth as a human being.
Basically, that is about the human rights of people that the police have to arrest or detain or process for court. And basically, it ties in with the presumption that the person is innocent, that he has human rights that must be respected by the police. And it even dovetails into the rules of professional behavior by the police. You know, we have this subsidiary legislation or piece of subsidiary legislation is the Police Service Regulations 2012, CI 76. And in CI 76, it lists in regulations 82 and 83, it lists kinds of misconduct that the police should not indulge in. So that it is all geared towards ensuring that the police will respect human rights. Because as a country, we've gone on the route of human rights, rule of law, democracy, and some call it democratic police. The police are supposed to do their work in accordance with these dictates. And in one of the kinds of professional misconduct that police can indulge in or are prohibited from indulging in is to maltreat or use unnecessary force towards a person that they have arrested or a person that they have placed in custody. So even if a policeman does that, then he, apart from criminal liability, he exposes himself to administrative disciplinary action, which could result in dismissal, reduction in rank, and a whole gamut of punishments that the police administration can choose from. So it is something that police are not even supposed to do. And policing is somewhat a perilous job for the policeman who is not minded to do the right thing. Because one, the policeman may end up being prosecuted for having committed a crime if he does things contrary to the law. Two, he may be sued, of course, with vicarious liability. The police administration and government ultimately bears responsibility for that one. Then there's the administrative disciplinary aspect. So the policeman is exposed to three types of liability. The criminal one, and there have been instances where policemen have had to be convicted.
So you are saying that this is where the police officer opens themselves to these things by stepping out of the law and their rules.
Exactly, that's the point I'm driving.
But how do you marry the empowerment of the police to use reasonable force, as you said earlier, or minimum force, and these provisions that say that they should not punish anybody, they should not put them to torture or cruel or inhuman or degrading treatment, and so on and so forth, and should not violate their dignity or do anything that detracts from the person's worth as a human being?
It's a give and take type of relationship between the police and the people that they come into contact with or have to arrest and investigate. First of all, the person who is being told that you are under arrest, he must submit.
Right.
And once you submit, then the police must handle you in a very civil manner. Now, the police can only use force to subdue you when you resist. And it can also be a perilous route. When, depending on the type of resistance and the weapons you use to resist, it can escalate to the point where the police are justified in snuffing your life out. That is where your resistance gets to a level where the policeman's life is in danger. Either one of you are giving the policeman this option. One person must walk out. Either you walk out or I kill you. That kind of thing. The police must not be seen running. So then it escalates. And at that level, when it gets to a level where the policeman realizes that you are intent on taking his life, he may take your life then. So it's something that people must be aware of, that you don't need to resist when the police come to arrest you.
Right. And you had said earlier that even where you believe that you are innocent, you must still submit.
Exactly.
Why is that so?
It is a process. You believe you are innocent. The policeman, the law entitles him to arrest you when he has reasonable suspicion that you are guilty. He mustn't even be sure that you are guilty.
Right.
As long as he reasonably suspects that there's a reason for him to think that you are not innocent, then he can arrest you. So once he has something to believe that, look, you are a person of interest as far as this crime that has been committed is concerned, or that this crime that is about to be committed is concerned, you are a person of interest, the police can arrest you. You can be squeaky clean. You can be very, very innocent. In your heart, you know you are innocent. You must still comply.
Right.
And when you comply, the process will exonerate you.
Okay.
But when you resist, it could be that you are really innocent. But even resisting arrest itself is a crime. So if at the end, the police even subdue you, they investigate and they realize you are innocent, you will not go free if they are going to do professional policing. They can charge you just for resisting arrest, and you can be convicted just for resisting arrest, innocent as you are. Because then you are complicating the process by resisting arrest. So when you resist arrest, then the police are entitled to use force to subdue you. And the more you resist and the more dangerous you make yourself, then the more the situation escalates. And it can lead to very negative consequences for the person. And as long as the policeman is within the law, even if it escalates to the point where the person dies from the police using force, reasonable force, the policeman goes free. It's as if like self-defense, even between two private individuals, where one person attacks an innocent person, the innocent person defends himself to the point of killing the attacker. It's self-defense, he walks free. So it's like mathematics. It's very simple, very cut and dry. Once the police comes and they tell you you are under arrest, you submit.
Right.
If you refuse to submit, they are entitled to use force.
Okay.
But when the police now stray beyond these rules, the rules of the game, and they use force beyond what the law entitles them to do, then the police now expose themselves to criminal liability 1, civil liability 2, administrative disciplinary action. And when all these are visited on the policeman concerned, he will be worse off.
Thank you very much, Justine Teriwajah. We will return to you as we listen to people. They may have their questions to ask, but the point he makes, and I need you to note that, he says that even if you think you are squeaky clean, that you are the wrong person that the police is coming for, you are completely innocent, please still submit. Once the officers identify themselves properly that they are police officers and they inform you in a language that you understand the reason for which you are being arrested, and he says it must be an offense. Once they say that to you and they let you know what is known as your Miranda rights, that anything you say could be used against you in a court of law, and that you are entitled to a lawyer of your choice, submit to the arrest. If you don't submit, they are empowered to use force. Now, the reason you should submit is also because the law says, even having arrested you and charged you, you are presumed to be innocent until a court has proved that it's been proven in a court that you are actually guilty, or you yourself have admitted that you are guilty. That's Article 19. And that you will be afforded adequate time and facilities to prepare your defense. You can defend yourself by your own self or by procuring a lawyer to assist you to defend yourself. And the law says you'll be afforded facilities to examine persons, in the court process. So submit when this is established. We are going to go to the phone lines right now, but when I return, I need you to give us a direct answer. Even though the Constitution has clearly said that you are not supposed to be punished, is there a circumstance where the police can decide that we will whip you, we will use a cane on you, we will get you to sweep a gutter, we will get you to sweep the road, like we have seen some military people do, and like we have seen the Accra regional minister make some people do, squatting on by the roadside, making them sweep and all of that. Let's go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim is calling from East Legon. Hello, Ibrahim.
Hello.
Yes, let's hear you.
Okay.
Ibrahim, we are listening to you.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Ibrahim, speak.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to find out that most of the police patrol that will stop you to search you, what kind of right do they have to search your car, and what type of the police officer rank with their rank that's supposed to search your car?
All right, thank you very much. Daniel, you are calling from South St. Chi. Let's hear you, Daniel.
All right, so I want to know what are the crimes that you commit before you be handcuffed to the police station when the police come under the suspicion that you are guilty of a crime. What are those crimes that they have to handcuff you to the police station? And number two, the police patrol teams that are on the road, they always threaten us if we don't bring our lances along. They will do something to us like that. One time we were going to Sophia and the policeman stopped us on the road. He was asking of our lances. And before we release the lances, he is not even an MTTD police officer. He's just a patrol team. Should we always show our lances to the patrol teams that are on the road or MTTD police officers?
Thank you, Daniel. Who is calling from Tamale? Ja. Is your name Ja?
Yes, Rastafari.
What's your name?
Good afternoon and good afternoon to all your listeners.
What's your name? What's your name? Hello?
Yeah, I'm Ja.
Is Ja your name on your documents?
On my documents, that's right.
Okay, Ja, let's hear you.
Yes, in fact, like a police officer coming to arrest you, you will tell the police officer, oh, please, take the lead, I'll report. But the police officer will insist that unless he disgraces you, put you on handcuff, other than that, he's not going. In that situation, what are you going to do?
All right, I think we can look at these. Right, so Justine, Ibrahim in East Legon is asking, when can the police search your car?
If they have reasonable cause to do so. A car, unlike your house, is not like protected with the same rules of privacy like your house. So on the way, when the police stop you and they want to search your car for anything in it, which they believe is something that can be used for crime or stolen, for whatever reason, that criminality is, as far as criminality is concerned, they can search your car on the road anytime.
Do they always need a warrant to do that?
They wouldn't need a warrant to search your car. It's the house, in respect of the house, that they may need they will definitely need a warrant. But for the car on the road, they can. And someone even asked a question about the license. And per the Road Traffic Act, as I said, I cannot exactly mention the section, but it's somewhere there in the Road Traffic Act that when you are on the road, you must have your license with you. So they can insist that let's see your license to be sure that you are not driving without a license, because driving without a license is a crime.
Yes, but must they detain your license or impound your car or what when they find something wrong and they need to process you for court?
Detaining the car is unless it's believed to be a stolen car or something wrong with the car itself. But detaining the car or keeping the car is or impounding the car, I think that should be. If they impound the car, is wrong, unless they have reason that they need it for purpose of criminal investigation.
Okay.
But if it is that you don't have a license driving that car and they don't suspect that it's a stolen car, there's no reason why they should impound the car.
Yeah, so if I'm unable to produce my license or roadworthy or maybe insurance, which happens often on the road, what are they supposed to do to me? Are they not just supposed to issue me a cheat and tell me which motor court I'm supposed to appear the next day and what time or so?
Exactly so. They can take you to process you for that. I mean, we have not reached a situation where in Ghana they will give you a spot fine that you should go and pay. And if you don't, then eventually they may have to take you through the judicial process. In Ghana, you have to go through the motor court.
Understandably, we have bad address systems. So, but must they always take you to the police station to process you when you have committed a road offense?
They need not, but most times they do.
Okay.
They can process all these things on the road and let you go.
We are still waiting for your calls. Call and ask your question. But on the search, section 93 of the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act says, search without a warrant in certain cases where a police officer has reasonable cause to believe that an article which has been stolen or unlawfully obtained, where the police officer has reasonable cause to believe that an article in respect of which a criminal offense has been or is being or is about to be committed is being conveyed, is concealed, or being carried on a person in a public place, or is concealed or contained in a package in a public place for the purpose of being conveyed, the police officer may, where the exigencies of the case so require, without a warrant or written authority, arrest, seize, and search that person, package, or article. A police officer who arrests a person, conducts a search or seizure, may take possession of and detain an article together with the package containing it, and may also arrest a person conveying or concealing or carrying that article. So he just spoke to that, and I just needed to read a lot to you. Kojo, you are calling us from Kumasi. Let's hear you quickly.
Kojo. I would like to know if we have the right to film the policeman for evidence.
Thank you for your questioning. James, you are calling from Upper East.
Yes.
Well, let's hear you, James.
My motorbike.
Let's hear you, James.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead and speak.
I said I bought my motorbike and I didn't register it. And the road I always pass to go to the server to register it. When policemen were standing there, I thought it was and took my old motorbike to pre-inform that I'm going to register I'm sending my new motorbike to go and register it. But when I got there, hello?
All right, thank you very much. You are speaking, we are hearing you. When you got there, what happened?
When I got there, the policeman told me I can't go with the motor. And I went, because I didn't want to do like maybe I want to bring a law. And I went to them and told them that I want to take my motor to pass through and go and do my number.
All right, thank you. Thank you. That's all we can take for now. Let's go to Justine. So Kojo in Kumasi is asking, can you film when you are being searched or the police is arresting you?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
You can. As long as the policeman knows he's doing the right thing, he should not be worried about that at all.
Okay. And had asked earlier that a policeman comes for you. Can you tell the policeman, take the lead, I will follow? And if they don't agree, what should you do?
You have to submit. You see, the issue is this. If the police come to invite you, that you are being invited to the police station, then fine. Then in that case, you can tell them, take the lead, I will follow. After all, it's just an invitation.
That's right.
But where you are told that you are under arrest, you have no option but to comply. Even if you are at the graveyard trying to bury your mother, and at that point you are told you are under arrest, you can't tell the police, let me finish and come. You have to go, others will continue in your absence.
Okay. And
so
then
I'm using that example to show that when it is an arrest, you have no option but to comply.
Right, because there are times they will send you an invitation, they could send you a letter, they could even call you on phone. James, in the Upper East region, his situation, his motorbike he had bought, he was going to register, and they said you can't go with the motorbike. What sort of situation is that?
That's a bit of a tricky one. You know, with DVLA, usually they give some temporary plates to use until you register. Now, that goes exactly with cars. With motorbikes, I have to be frank here, I'm not too sure. I may have to research on that. But with vehicles, you can't even use it without that temporary license. So I guess it may be about the same thing they are talking about, that you may need a temporary plate to use it until you register.
All right. Now, I had asked you that question earlier, and we are ending with that. Police is enforcing COVID-19 rules or doing something like that. Can they ask you to sweep, somewhere? Can they ask you to clean the gutter? Like the military, we have seen them also ask people to do. Local authority guards have also asked people to do such things. Can they ask you to do that?
Clearly not.
Why?
Clearly not, because then the policeman is, or the person in charge and issuing those commands is acting as judge and jury and everything. The police have limited powers. Their powers are only to arrest. You are presumed innocent. You get to court, you plead guilty, or you are proven guilty. Then punishment can be given. And even in that case, the punishment to be given should be in accordance with law. That's what rule of law is about. That there is the rule of law has various meanings. One of the meanings is that there should be procedural justice used to administer substantive justice.
Okay.
So the police only come in when it comes to procedural justice, the process of administering justice. The police only come in the procedural aspect.
So it's only the court. It's only the court that can say this is your punishment, and even that.
Justice,
and even that, it is not the police that will administer the punishment.
At all. That's why I try to draw that distinction between procedural justice and substantive justice.
Okay.
Substantive justice is the punishment that is given to you for having committed a crime. And that can only be determined by the court. But the procedural justice is the procedure of arresting you, gathering the evidence, and presenting it to the court. That one is the domain of the police or other people performing police duties.
Okay.
So when they decide to mix the two, then they are clearly overstepping their boundaries.
All right. Now I said that would be the last, but you spoke about they can invite you and so on. So if they invite you, can you decide to say you won't go? And if you do that, what will be the consequence?
Yes, if they invite you, actually, if you look at the law, there is nothing like police invitation. You know, as far as criminal law is concerned, that it is governed by Act 30, the procedure. Now, and as I said, that's procedural justice. It's all in Act 30. There is nothing I have come across in Act 30 that talks about police inviting you. The formal process is for police to say you are under arrest. So when the police invite you, it's an informal thing they are doing on their own, not backed by law.
Or they are showing you some respect.
Yes, so you can decide to ignore it. The only time you are compelled to comply is when you are under arrest. Because then they are acting within the law, and then the formal rules apply, and if you resist, then you have yourself to blame when they use force against you.
Justine Poavara Teriwajah, thank you so very much for this very illuminating education that you are giving. He's a former police officer. He's a lawyer and also teaches the law. Thank you so very much, Justine. And we have been dealing with the topic, can the police punish suspect, punish unquote. I read from you from the Constitution, they can't do that. And Justine has more than explained that no law enforcement agency has the power to do so. Only a court can administer its sanctions to you, not the police. Thank you very much. I'm Samson Ladia Yenini. This has been The Law. It is your legal light and your health law. We come your way next week by God's grace.